There we go. So our runners are off, and they are actually going to start off the run by buying a hammer, setting all of their settings to very specific things, and doing the equipment duplication glitch to create knight's armors from hammers, or the equipment glitch in and of itself. Though it does duplicate the knight's armors because it takes the item ID of the hammer, swaps it to the armor ID table, and makes those hammers themselves. So when they try to exit Canaria, or Cornelia in this version, Canaria in the NES version, they have to go talk to the king and the chancellor, and that will allow them to progress in the game, go up to the Chaos Shrine to fight Garland and rescue Princess Sarah. But while they're in the Chaos Shrine, they might be making a slight detour. Now, I did talk to these runners a little bit before the race, just to get a little bit of background on them, and I figured I might share a little bit of the background that I got. So, Soma SR is a JRPG speedrunner, general in the FF series. Also has run Breath of Fire 3, Evil Land 2, and Pokemon Red. Actually started running FF1 PSP in the Total Chaos Tournament 2. Unfortunately, Yoshi does not get to run away from this Black Widow, and Soma finding a couple of zombies, nothing too bad. And there's the leather cap that a detour was made for in order to make judgment staves with the equipment glitch. And these judgment staves, when used as an item, actually cast Flare. And Flare is one of the most powerful spells that you can have. It's the most powerful spell you can cast at this point in the game, especially with being able to create the judgment staves, dealing a nice chunk of damage in and of itself. Running definitely is the hardest mechanic in this game. Now, there is a small chance that Garland will survive the 4 attacks made by the Light Warriors, but in Soma's case, Garland definitely did not survive, and Princess Sarah has been rescued. So, back to the bio on Soma. Soma's actually third place right now on the leaderboards, going for sub 124 overall. Yoshi makes it through Garland without any problems, thanks to the knight's armors made by the hammers themselves. That'll actually bring me over to Yoshi for a moment. Yoshi actually started playing this a little over a month ago, and has preferred to play a little more risky instead of playing on the safer end. One of the things they noted to me is that they did not buy gold needles in their PB, because if they get petrified, they just reset. So now that Sarah has been rescued and both of the runners have the bridge rebuilt as well as the loot in hand, they get to go over to the town of Provoca. They have access to Matoya's Cave, Provoca, and quite a few other things. But while they are in the town of Provoca, there is one specific thing that they will be getting, which is the ship, and that will allow access to the rest of the Inner Sea. One thing you may notice on the PSP version that's different from a few of the other versions is that you can skip the little lore cutscenes, such as the one when you're crossing the bridge. You can't skip the cutscene of the bridge being built itself, since that actually has text that you need to scroll through. But since the bridge cutscene has auto-scrolling text, for some reason you're able to skip through that. You're also able to skip through the opening cutscene before you actually get to start playing the game. Oh, Soma getting unfortunate luck not being able to run from the Gaigas worms themselves. But fortunately, those Knight's Armors definitely putting in some work. Let's see if Yoshi has any better luck. And they do. And this is an encounter you don't want to see early on Soma's screen. A bunch of wolves. That's the encounter that, personally, if I see it, I roll my eyes at that encounter. Soma does make it into Provoca, though, and decides to skip Bicky and go straight down to the shop to buy potions, ethers, antidotes, and Phoenix Downs. And then runs back to Bicky. And Yoshi makes it to Provoca at the time that Soma engages Bicky's pirates. And this is where the Judgment Staff's ability of Flare comes into play, just to one-shot all of these pirates. And after defeating the pirates, Bicky asks if he can be forgiven if you take his ship. And, you know, I think getting a ship because he had his pirate try to kill us is a pretty good trade-off. So now we can explore the rest of the Inner Sea and head southwest to the town of Elfland, which is our next destination, because we need to cure the Prince of Elfland, who's been in a magical slumber. And the only thing that can rouse the prince from the slumber is the Jolt Tonic from Matoya. I had to stop myself because I almost said the herb, which is the NES equivalent. So Yoshi actually makes it pretty quickly. No puzzle yet. We might actually see 15 puzzle come up from one of these runners, potentially before Melmond. I know that when I do runs, I end up doing the 15 puzzle just outside of Melmond. Soma not walking into the castle, but walking into the town of Elfland itself, still allowing the encounter rate to be reset down to its lowest value possible. Soma, unfortunately, getting a lot of wolves. And a preemptive on Yoshi's side, which allows Yoshi to run no matter what. So, in order for the Jolt Tonic to be obtained by Matoya, we must first get the crown to give to Astos, the Dark Elf, who has Matoya's crystal eye, which Matoya needs to be able to see. And once she's able to see again, that's when she gives us the Jolt Tonic. Yoshi deciding to heal up, entering Marsh Cave Basement 2. Which is a fairly good idea, because the upcoming Paisodemons can hit fairly hard. They actually do deal some damage through the Knight's Armors themselves. Ooh, and Yoshi getting 4 Paisodemons. A very, very nice encounter there. Yoshi getting a Judgment Staff to go off, and finishing the fight as Soma enters it with 4 Paisodemons as well. So EXP won't really be an issue going into Astos, even if the fighter survives. Though, I imagine they're still hoping for death to be cast on the fighter. So both Soma and Yoshi have their crowns, and now it's just escaping Marsh Cave in and of itself. Which is fairly easy to do. Just got to run back. And Yoshi had a really, really nice run. And I do agree, Chris. Rub is the best skill. I keep trying to not use the NES names, but I see Flare and I'm like, oh, that's Nuke! That's not Flare, that's Nuke! Ooh, unfortunately, Soma actually has some paralysis. And there's Forsyth showing up. Wishing good luck to the racers. Soma has had some very bad RNG so far, which is why Yoshi's been able to take the lead. And, of course, Astos being like, you fools, I am Astos. So, Yoshi should be finishing up the Astos fight as Soma gets in, unless this encounter decides to be nasty. So, this will actually end up giving our runners the Crystal Eye, which is used in the chain to awaken the prince from Astos' curse, I'm guessing. I honestly don't remember for sure. Oh no, there's death on the white mage. That is not good. The white mage was the one that ended up having rub. That is that's going to come into play during the Evil Eye grind. At least the black mage got more delicious EXP. So we've got Yoshi running back, getting tons of encounters. And Soma just started their run back to Elflin. Or even the ship. And Yoshi is using the Black Mage route, so the equipment glitch won't be used quite as heavily as what some may have seen last night with the White Mage route in play. And Yoshi actually did buy gold needles. So there's no need to worry about gold needles there. So Yoshi's actually had a fairly good run. Unfortunately for Soma, with having Rub Cat White Mage, that's going to put a slight damper later on in the run, but it shouldn't be anything too bad. It's just going to be one, maybe two more Evil Eyes, and it looks like both of these runners are using the Black Mage route instead of going the full-on item route. Soma actually getting poisoned, which will inflict 1 damage for each tile that you walk. But it sounds so much better in every other version except for the NES version. Yoshi getting all the encounters on the way to Matoya's cave. And Soma just landing. Yeah, I will admit, last night was the first time I actually saw the White Mage equipment glitch route, and that was definitely a treat. So Yoshi's entered Matoya's cave. Matoya had her crystal eye stolen, and Astos was the one that had it. Both Yoshi and Soma have the crystal eye, so they'll give the crystal eye back to Matoya and obtain the Jolt Tonic, which will be used to wake the Elven Prince. And now it's just time to run back to the Elfin Castle or Elfland Castle. Yeah, that wolf ambush was pretty nasty, and Soma gets a goblin ambush. And that thief is not wanting to run. Due to that wolf ambush, though, Soma has gotten slightly ahead of Yoshi. And the only thing that would cause that to change is Yoshi getting a nice run on the sea and Soma getting a nasty encounter on the sea. And Soma's going to be the first one to land. Yoshi opting to land the ship at the start of the dock instead of actually moving all the way in. That is actually because the docks should, if I remember correctly, whenever you walk on the docks, you don't have a chance of any encounters happening. I know that's how it is in NES Final Fantasy, but I can't remember if that actually translates into the other ones. So Yoshi's gonna exit the Elven Castle, run back in, and go loot the treasury. There are 2 specific items in the treasury that both of the runners will be getting: the bronze gloves and the mithril hammer. Cool. I thought it was the same. That mithril hammer is going to change into thief's armlets. And those thief's armlets are extremely nice because they buff agility by 10 for each armlet. And there's the sage staff. And a second sage's staff. And then the thief's armlets for the black mage. And with that, party's fully equipped for this portion of the game. Soma had a better set of equipment glitches, so ended up getting just ever so slightly ahead of Yoshi. But is having a fairly nasty sea. Now, they do have to return here to Castle Cornelia so that way they can get the nitro powder, which I think it was better named the TNT. I feel like it should have been kept as TNT. Because I don't know how you use powder, even though it's nitro powder, to blow up a rock to make a canal. So now they just have to take the nitro powder to Narek in the dwarf cave. That works. They take the nitro powder to Narek in the dwarf cave, who turns it from powder into TNT, and then uses that to blow open the canal, which allows access to Melmond, as well as the first Fiend dungeon of the run. Ooh, Yoshi getting a nasty encounter with all these wolves. And Soma's talked to Narek, slowly walking down to that wall for the canal. And now, for my favorite cutscene that we skip in this run, the canal being made. Because you get to watch the rock just crumble down to nothing. Unfortunately, that wolf encounter put Yoshi back just a little bit. I do have to agree. The cutscene skips we have are the best skips that we can get. So now the canal's been opened for both Soma and Yoshi. They can move on to Melmond, and we will see if we will see some gloves turned into another sword. And said sword was actually mentioned earlier, the Barbarian sword being the strongest sword in the game. Even more powerful than the ultimate weapon, which is the final reward for Whisperwind Cove, which is an extra dungeon added in the Game Boy Advance version that was made before the PSP version. And there are actually 4 of them. The whirlpool that you see on Soma's screen leads to Lifespring Grotto. Then there is Hellfire Chasm. And last but not least, Earthgift Shrine, which you may have seen the entrance to while these runners were heading towards Chaos Shrine. So Soma is actually going to go ahead and stop in here at Melmond and sell off all 4 of the Knight's Armors and buy some steel gloves. And those steel gloves are used to make the Barbarian sword. If I remember correctly, Chris, yes. The Barbarian sword has attack as well as strength. It's been a little while since I've actually looked at it. But you'll notice that after they make the Barbarian sword on the thief, they then throw a knife onto the thief and then re-equip the Barbarian sword onto the fighter. Currently, Soma SR is ahead. And the Rec 24, this is the PSP version. Soma, unfortunately, getting a nasty encounter while Yoshi got a preemptive strike. And these two are really close. Both entering the first dive of Cavern of Earth within seconds of each other. Though neither of them actually went for 15 puzzle, so we won't see any potential emergency exits used here. Soma getting ambushed by gargoyles, which is not the best encounter you would like to be ambushed by. But fortunately, the second encounter for Soma was much nicer. Ooh, double gargoyles. Yoshi taking a safety save on this floor, which is a very good idea. There are these jerk birds. They're called cockatrice. They have the potential to stone you whenever they attack. And yes, Soma does have less EXP on the White Mage because the White Mage was affected by death. Yoshi does get an encounter that can potentially paralock the party. And Soma gets the Cockatrice encounter. Fortunately, it's only 3. Unfortunately, the fighter and thief were turned to stone. But on the bright side, Soma did have those gold needles, so fortunately, the status ailment was able to be cured. Yoshi finding Vampire. Ooh. More cockatrices. YoshiKyon fighting the Vampire, making quick work with that beautiful, beautiful barbarian sword. And getting the Star Ruby from the chest behind the Vampire, which then allows Yoshi to go through the Giant's Pass and go talk to my good friend, Sarda the Sage. Soma not too terribly far behind, just getting the Star Ruby as well. And one-step encounter. Fortunately, it's preemptive against some jellies and a spider. Not what I would call breakfast right there. And Soma, unfortunately, gets blocked by a bat. Bats are not our friends at all. The NPCs can move so erratically that it's just, it can be nasty. You can be blocked by a bat in a corridor that you don't want to be blocked in. Yoshi makes it out of Earth Cave relatively quickly. And Soma is just entering the second floor on the run out. Almost got bat blocked again. I like that one, Seiryu. I gotta give you credit on that one. So the Star Ruby we give to this giant. He's like, oh, rubies are so good. And then he just walks away. Oh no. This is not a good ambush. Fortunately, Soma made it out of that ambush in one piece. And Yoshi, unfortunately, is getting a bunch of lesser tigers to show up in his giant's cave. Or, pardon me, in their giant's cave. Soma getting all the wolves. Now, there are 3 different types of encounters in this game. You've got your normal encounters where neither side is going to be able to attack first. It's all dependent upon RNG. Then you've got your preemptive strikes where your party always has the first action and has a guaranteed run. And then the third one are ambush encounters where the enemy party gets the first strike. And one thing the runners don't want to see a lot of are ambushes. Yoshi gets a really nasty encounter there, and fortunately none of the monsters were able to attack, so making it out of that nasty encounter without any problems. Soma just finding all the wolves now. While Yoshi is making their way back to Earth Cave. And there's the high five. Because I forgot to mention the high fives while they happened. Now we might see some more high fives later. But now it's just Yoshi's running through Earth Cave, going to go use the Earth Rod behind where Vampire was, and moves straight on down to Lich, the first fiend, and relight the Earth Crystal in and of itself. Now, they changed the crystals from what they originally were in the NES version, because in the NES version, you relit the orbs instead of the crystals. Yoshi getting the first unrunnable for Paisodemons. Now, there are random encounters that are unrunnable, these Paisodemons being one of them, and our runners will know which encounters are unrunnable and which ones are not. And there are a few unrunnables scattered here and there throughout the run in and of itself. But there is one place we will see a high potential of unrunnables due to the dungeon in and of itself. And that is the Temple of Fiends Revisited, or Chaos Shrine 2,000 years in the past. There were more Paisodemons for Yoshi, which is unfortunate, but definitely not the end of the world. A little bit of extra EXP might help with the grind later. More Paisodemons! Oh. I'm feeling bad for Yoshi right now. Soma's about, I'd say, half a floor behind. Not too terribly far behind Yoshi right now. Yoshi's definitely making some really, really good time going towards this Earth Crystal, going towards the Lich fight in and of itself, but the Lich fight isn't going to be free, because if Lich does get turn order on either of the runners, there is a chance that Lich will open up with Blizzara, and that will kill the entire party. Yoshi ended up doing a safety save before Lich, which is most definitely recommended in a race setting. And here is the first fiend of the run, Lich. Gets a crit with the fighter, Thief throws out an attack, and Lich is done. It was over 1,200 damage total. And now Soma is about to throw an attempt at Lich. Safety saving is highly recommended in a race scenario, because if you haven't made a save and you wipe, then more than likely that's just going to be a forfeit. Soma, unfortunately, not getting Lich on the first round, but Lich did not cast Blizzara, which is definitely a huge thing. So now both of these runners have made it through Earth Cave and have the first crystal lit. and sat through the cutscene of Earthgift Shrine opening up, the statue of Lich disappearing because Lich has been destroyed. And now they have access to that if they want to go in there. But this is any percent. This isn't all bosses. Why would we want to go in there? If this were all bosses, then there would be rhyme and reason to go in there. So Yoshi is actually going to hop back on the ship and head south for a decent little bit. And then turn to head towards Crescent Lake. And both of the runners actually do need to stop at Crescent Lake to pick up one very specific item. This is an extremely good lead for Yoshi right now. The one specific item that these runners are going to want to pick up from Crescent Lake in the Circle of Sages itself is the canoe. The canoe will allow them to traverse through these lakes and rivers, and it is a huge item to have at this point in the game, especially considering that, yes, the lakes and canals, especially considering that the next dungeon, or next fiend dungeon specifically, is in these canals. But they're not going to go there just yet. There's no reason to fight Marilith just yet. Instead, they're actually going to detour to the ice cave in order to get the Levistone. And I keep trying to say floater. So with the Mithril Axe that Yoshi just bought, Yoshi is going to make some black garbs, which are just going to increase defense quite a bit more and are extremely nice. And then switch the party formation so that way he can, or they can do the equipment glitch onto the Black Mage as well. It does make the ship float. And Soma is doing all the equipment glitching as well now. Soma's got about 2 years with this run. Soma started running back in Total Chaos Tournament 2. So both Yoshi and Soma now have the canoe, and their next stop will be the ice cave. And the item in the ice cave, being the Levistone itself, is nice. But there's one other thing that these runners are going to end up making the most of while they're in the ice cave. And that is, before the Levistone, there is a trap tile that has evil eyes on it. It'll be one evil eye each encounter. And the evil eye actually casts Thundara. They'll be looking for Thundara to be cast so that way the thief hopefully dies. And with the thief dead and the white mage and black mage alive, both of the mages will be able to pretty much kill the eyes with whatever spell they cast. And everything will be good. So unfortunately, Yoshi gets another unrunnable, the Paisodemons, on the first floor of Ice Cave. The encounter luck has been somewhat unfavorable with unrunnables towards Yoshi, but otherwise, Yoshi's had a very solid run so far. And both of the runners are safety saving in Cavern of Ice. Howdy, 46 and 2. So Soma, unfortunately, gets the unrunnable Paicodemons as well, but is able to just cast Thundara to get rid of them. Though that will make up a little bit of EXP that was lost on the White Mage earlier in the run. So the Paicodemons themselves are extremely good for Soma. Yoshi falling through one of the cracked floors in Ice Cave before the floater itself. Ooh, getting an Ice Gigas. This is another one of the unrunnable encounters in Ice Cave. Yoshi's fighter also looking at low HP. There's an ambush. Soma is actually making some decent ground up. Yoshi back to the floor with the unrunnable Paicodemons. Right as I was about to say that, they decided to show up again. And now Soma is at the floor with the Lava Stone, about to drop down. And Soma definitely is getting some good RNG. And now, here comes the Evil Eye grind. Yoshi will defend with everybody until the Evil Eye casts Thundara first turn, killing off the fighter and the thief. And with the Lust Daggers that Yoshi used the equipment glitch to make, they one-shot the eyes each time they attack. This luck is top-tier luck. Unfortunately, Soma is not having the top-tier luck right now. But makes it down without much of a problem. And gets first turn Thundara as well. And the Black Mage HP was not much of an issue. Yes, this is the PSP version. So both Soma and Yoshi are going to be in their Evil Eye grinds. And the next thing that's coming up after the Evil Eye grinds are done is raising the airship from the ground using the Levistone that they both got, or that Yoshi got and Soma will be getting. So that way they can access a few different areas. Soma got a first turn Thundara as well. Yoshi has got some really good HP rolls right now. Though, unfortunately, Yoshi is not getting any luck with running right now. Oh, yeah, no luck with the running there. And Soma is picking up their Levistone now. Yeah, if Yoshi's luck continues, especially with the HP rolls through this, we may see a tonicless Chaos fight. Soma encountering the counterpart of the Paicodemons, the Mind Flayers. And they have a group paralysis attack. believe it's Mind Flay. I honestly can't remember for sure with the more recent versions. I know in the NES version, it's Trance. Mind Blast. Thank you, Toku. Right? Mind Flayers are terrible use. So, Leonis, Yoshi is using the Black Mage route. And Soma's also using the Black Mage route. So now we've got both of the runners just going through this canal, getting back to their ship. And heading down to the Ryukon Desert, where they will awaken that beautiful, beautiful airship. And unfortunately, Soma gets an encounter right before disembarking. A baby hippo, White Mage route was actually shown off last night. Well, in my case, last night, yesterday in general. So now Yoshi is in the air, and Soma is not too terribly far behind Yoshi. And the first stop now that these runners are in the air is going to be Castle Ordeals. Yoshi encountering a sandworm. Sandworms can be scary. But both of these runners are in extremely good shape right now. Both on their way to Castle Ordeals. Still a very close race, all things considered. And unfortunately, Soma gets an ambush. So now, the best part of this game, in my opinion, the Pillar Maze in Castle Ordeals. Ooh, the Unrunnable Minotaur Zombie. A nice encounter to see, not something that's really necessary. Now, both of these runners will have this Pillar Maze memorized, and they will be able to make it through the entire maze without any problems. The only question is, how many unrunnables are they going to encounter? And Yoshi's already hit 2. Soma's having a pretty good run so far in Castle Ordeals. Oh, Yoshi gets ambushed by the Rakshasas, and since they cast fire, they can waste a little bit of time. And just like that, our two runners are just about in sync. We very well may see a lead swap coming up. And now there are lordly robes available. That's right. The healing staff that was picked up from that chest actually changes into lordly robes when used with the equipment glitch. So the lordly robes in and of themselves are extremely nice. If they're equipped in the actual chest armor slot, they do give regen. So If they are equipped in the chest slot, then it loses time. Otherwise, they don't give regen. And Yoshi obtains the rat tail, and just a few moments later, Soma obtains the rat's tail. And now for the D-Zombie. Soma ended up getting 2, which is extremely nice to see. And hits the magic level on the black mage as well as the white mage, which, if I remember correctly, is 18. It has been a little bit since I've run this game. I do believe we're going to see more sub 140 runs. 19. Thank you, Chris. Because we count up to 18 during the eye grind, and then 19 is obtained inside of ordeals. Because level 5 magic is extremely useful. Healara and Teleport are going to be the 2 level 5 spells that are used the most. So they are actually both going to make a stop here in the Dragon Caves within the Cardia Islands in order to talk to Bahamut and upgrade their classes. And an encounter while on top of the airship is no fun. So we're going to see another high five here. Right now. But by getting the rat tail, both Yoshi and Soma upgrade their classes. The fighter becomes a knight, the thief becomes a ninja, and then the 2 mages become wizards of their respective magic types. And with that done, it's time to say bye, Bahamut. And that's all the King of Dragons is used for in this version of the game. So, now they're both going to head to the Desert Caravan and pick up the bottle that a tiny fairy is locked in. And within this shop, after you buy the bottle that the fairy is in, you can then buy all sorts of tonics. There's Giant's tonics, speed drinks, stuff like that. Yoshi getting an unrunnable on the overworld, the Hellhound Ogre Mage encounter being one of the unrunnables, which is unfortunate, but definitely not the end of the world. And with that, both of our runners are just right on each other's tails. Soma deciding to crash right into Gaia, though Yoshi actually landed on the grass just before Gaia. And as soon as they walk into the town, a tiny fairy pops out of the bottle and decides to fly off. And she flies over to this lake where she then dives down to the bottom of it and picks up the Oxyale, which allows you to breathe underwater. And I mean, we could use FF4 logic. You could turn a rat tail into adamant and then use that to forge the Excalibur. Yeah, RNG is most definitely going to be the factor for who wins this, especially going into Mount Golg, where Soma's already gotten an encounter, and so has Yoshi. And Yoshi got the runnable formation on that. This is neck and neck in Mount Golg. The dream of the zero encounter volcano is dead. Both of them have had a 2 encounter volcano so far. Yoshi's now had a 3 encounter volcano. Yes, Chris, you had a 1 encounter volcano yesterday. Oh no. Soma was in the lead, but Yoshi's overtaken the lead again. Soma did just dodge death, which is what that oh no was about. And now both Soma and Yoshi are on their way to Marilith. Soma actually makes it to Marilith first, with Yoshi just a few seconds behind. This race is extremely close. Yeah, the Red Hydra's AoE. And Marilith is down on Soma's side, and Yoshi, not too much later, gets Marilith down as well. Sub 57 Mariliths. This is a normal 80% heavy arms. So both Soma and Yoshi have their second crystals lit. And the next stop will be back to Elfheim, so that way they can pick up Haste and potentially Blizzara. I actually expect them both to pick up Blizzara since they're running Black Mage route. And then they should be heading to Melmond to pick up Teleport as well as Healara. And Healara is going to show how much work it can do. And that is the real question. Are both ninjas going to get haste? We see haste on Soma's side. We see haste on Yoshi's side. Both ninjas get haste. Now to pick up Healara and Teleport, and then they will be heading off to Onrak. Now, the Oxale that was picked up earlier is actually needed here for Onrak. Soma got one of the unrunnables. It is going to come down to whether or not Yoshi can go tonicless. Oh, Soma getting another unrunnable, which is unfortunate. The Oxale that was picked up earlier from the ferry in Gaia actually comes into play here, because if you don't have the Oxale, you can't actually board this barrel submarine type thing to go into the Sea Shrine. And for some reason with this menu, it actually starts, it asks if you want to go to the Sunken Shrine and starts off on no. It doesn't make sense to me. Though Yoshi getting the first unrunnable of the Sea Shrine. The Sahagan Princes and Sahagan Chiefs are an unrunnable encounter. I agree, this race is extremely good. Soma getting the formation with a water elemental that is runnable, and Yoshi already running into his second unrunnable, and Soma also finding the unrunnable Sahagan Prince and Chief encounter. So there is one more unrunnable formation now that we can see, because there are the water elementals, and there's the other one, the ghost encounter. That's the other unrunnable that Sea Shrine has to offer. So with that, our runners have shown every unrunnable encounter. Yoshi is opting to pick up the light axe from this floor instead of picking it up on Sea Shrine 2F just before Kraken. No, I just wanted the game to show it off. Soma, unfortunately, getting another ghost encounter. So Yoshi does grab the light axe first and makes it up to Sunken Shrine 5F, where Yoshi will be obtaining the Rosetta Stone, which will actually be used to learn Lefanish. The Rosetta Stone will be taken back to Dr. Un in Melmond, and Lefanish will be learned from there. Now, the light axe, when equipment glitched, actually turns into the survival vest. And the survival vests are very, very nice to have. So Yoshi's equipping the Lordly Robes onto the White Mage to buff the healing that the White Mage does, and throwing extra Lordly Robes on the Black Mage for extra spell damage. Back to the second floor of the sunken, or made it back second floor, and has been getting quite a few encounters, and is now in the quickest floors of the Sunken Shrine, while Yoshi unfortunately gets an unrunnable. And Soma also gets an unrunnable, but Soma is on the second floor. Yes, I know that's a little confusing. But this second floor has the other light axe that is used to also make survival vests. Soma has snuck ahead. Yoshi isn't too terribly far behind, and since Yoshi's already done all of the equipment glitching that they need to do, they should be able to make up whatever time was lost. It is still neck and neck, and unfortunately, Yoshi getting another unrunnable. It is very neck and neck right now. Yoshi making it to Sunken Shrine 1F just before Soma does. This is the floor that has my favorite fiend, Kraken. And we are missing the hour marker for Yoshi. Yes, this lead has gone back and forth quite a few times. This has been an extremely tight race. Soma makes it through to Kraken with hardly any encounters. I see what you did there, Q-Limp. Soma almost tried to run away from Kraken, which doesn't work. But both of our runners are through Kraken just under the 105.30 mark. And I actually do have the SRL room open, and both of the runners noting that this is extremely close. It is about 4 seconds difference. Both of these runners have been doing a fantastic job. Six-second difference. So now that Kraken has been defeated, they're both going to detour to the waterfall in order to pick up a cube, or the warp cube, from the robot that's just hiding out in here. Fortunately, Soma gets ambushed by some nightmares. Not a terrible thing to have happen, but definitely not fortunate. Yeah, if it were a hypercube, that'd be a completely different story. Yoshi actually manages to run from the nightmares, gets a second pack, and manages to run from it. Soma, looking at a third pack of nightmares, gets to run away as well. Ooh, Yoshi getting ambushed by clay golems. Fortunately, it's a quick encounter. Now, I wonder if we'll see a green dragon show up. Waterfall is doing its normal waterfall stuff. And Yoshi actually makes it to the robot. Now, there is a chest that they do want to pick up here. Yoshi is most definitely in the lead now. And there's the warp cube, which is going to be used to access the floating fortress. And now the robot's going to go haywire. And inside of the chest that Yoshi just looted was a ribbon. And they're going to equipment glitch the ribbon into the Gigantax and then turn that Gigantax back into ribbons. Soma gets fairly good positioning on the robot, gets the ribbon, and will do the same equipment glitch setup. To create the ribbons. Soma did get one of the 3 Godbot spots. So Yoshi comes back to Dr. Un with the Rosetta Stone in hand, and Dr. Un looks at it and goes, "Hey, we can learn Lufanian with this." And in order to get the chime, they have to know Lufanian. Otherwise, they're going to get to Lufania and not be able to understand what the Lufanians are saying. Soma getting pretty good Un placement. Yoshi definitely got the best Un placement. Getting a preemptive against Hilgigus. Now, this walk to Lefania has quite a few unrunnables on it. The one you'll probably see the most commonly is the Minotaur Zombie. And it can be either Minotaur Zombies, and Trolls. Just any of the encounter packs with Minotaur Zombies is unrunnable. And Yoshi is having outstanding luck with it. No unrunnables on the way to Lefania. But definitely gets blocked by this Lefanian. Now, Yoshi has the chime and has the two pieces needed to access the floating fortress. Soma finds Hilgigus's, and that's followed up by Winter Wolves. So Yoshi is going to run back to the airship. Unfortunately, Soma does get an unrunnable, and Yoshi's unrunnable shows up now. But fortunately, a cast of Fyro will do it for Yoshi and Soma. Just a couple of attacks. Yoshi deciding to stick in the lake as long as possible to try to avoid unrunnables. Getting an encounter with a couple Desert Berettas and makes it through with only one unrunnable on the walk to and from Lufania. Soma unfortunately getting their second unrunnable in the walk back. And Yoshi is climbing Mirage Tower, heading to the last fiend in the game, the Queen of Dragons herself, Tiamat. Soma running back to the airship, getting fairly good encounter luck overall, I'd say. Only having two unrunnables so far. Getting a lot of Hilgigus encounters, which are extremely nice to see. And now the Desert Beretta, which means Soma should be done with unrunnables, and is. Yoshi making it up to Mirage Tower 3rd floor, getting a preemptive against some Were Tigers. Life is good. And then the forced Blue Dragon encounter. Soma on Mirage 2 as Yoshi enters the Flying Fortress. Thank you very much, Pampa 99999. So Yoshi in the Flying Fortress. I will remember that, Pampa. Both of the runners having some fairly nice runs. Soma not having the best RNG. This does seem to be PB pace for Yoshi. It is a very beautiful run so far. I'm actually going to double check here in one moment. Yes, this is PB pace for Yoshi so far. We do still have the Chaos Shrine, and the Chaos Shrine can definitely equalize everything. Yeah, Yoshi is actually running with his splits hidden right now. But Yoshi has entered the Tiamat fight. Doesn't get her down on round one, but definitely takes her down with that second swing from the ninja for 976. And with that, Yoshi is ready to enter the Temple of Fiends Revisited, the second half of the Chaos Shrine. We're going back 2,000 years, and we will be heading towards Chaos. Let's see if Soma gets a War Mech here on this Bridge of Destiny. Soma getting the run. The zero encounter Bridge of Destiny. War Mech is runnable. So if Soma were to encounter War Mech, Soma would run from War Mech. I will admit, I did not know that War Mech was runnable until I started running this. So Tiamat opened up with Thunderbolt, which ended up taking down Soma's Black Wizard. But Soma makes it through Tiamat just fine. And Yoshi is on their way to the Chaos Shrine to break this time loop and stop things from happening. But first, a little cutscene. Since this is the PSP version, there is one extra dungeon that was added that is kind of a time trial challenge dungeon. Dingwu, this is the FF1 PSP Total Chaos Tournament. This is the any percent category of the PSP version of FF1 that uses so many equipment glitches and makes things look really, really nice. Hooded man bashes his head against a wall and makes a door. Absolutely, Toku. So Yoshi has entered the Chaos Shrine 2,000 years in the past. This is where things will get interesting. There are a myriad of unrunnables, such as these purple worms being one of them, in this dungeon. Soma's Black Mage HP was definitely very bad looking. This is the encounter that personally I don't like to see. The 4 white dragons. I have a bit of history with that. And unfortunately, it looks like Yoshi is not getting good luck here. Oh, he actually... Okay, Yoshi does make it out thanks to the knight. Double drops, dragons, strike back. Soma getting the unrunnable purple worms and the Chaos Shrine as well. Ooh, Yoshi getting green dragons. Fortunately, the green dragons are weak to ice, and they do have a lot of EXP that they give, as well as a lot of gold. But it's still not an encounter that you really want to see. Oh, more green dragons. And Soma getting the Black Knights. It's on PSP, 3DS, iOS, but the 3DS and iOS versions aren't as broken. There's also a PS1 version and a GBA version. The PS1 does not have the extra dungeons. The GBA version is missing the time dungeon. And yes, the 3DS one was specifically in Japan. They patched out the equipment glitch in iOS and the iOS and the 3DS versions. But both Yoshi and Soma are at the loot. Soma pulled ahead, just barely, but is still ahead nonetheless. This race is extremely close. Soma running into the unrunnable Ice Gigas Winterwolf formation. Throwing down a little bit of Fyra just to get that job done. Yoshi getting the unrunnable D zombies. And Soma also running into the unrunnable D zombies. And Yoshi is just a few steps away from the stairs and has another unrunnable encounter. The lead has been back and forth throughout this entire race, and Soma is just getting so unlucky with all of these unrunnables. The RNG has not been with Soma at all, and Yoshi just making it through, not getting very many unrunnables. Until, I say something about that. Definitely commentator's curse there. And now the Fiend refights will be beginning. So these next few floors of the Chaos Shrine are going to have the 4 Fiends. And the first one being Lich. All the enemies in here are going to have the Earth theme to them. And then the next floor being Fire themed, Water themed for the 3rd floor, and Wind themed for the 4th floor. So these tiles around the stairwell all have Lich encounters. Oh, Soma unfortunately getting the Earth Elementals, which is another unrun. Yoshi making it through Lich 2 like it's nothing. Using that Barbarian to cut through Lich like a hot knife through butter. Now these Fire Lizards, if you know the NES version, are Agamas, so I might be requesting some Agama facts. Ooh, Yoshi getting the Fire Elementals. Another one of the unrunnables. I do believe we've seen most of the unrunnable encounters here in the Chaos Shrine. So Yoshi is at Marilith 2, and she should be just as easy as she was the first time. Except she decides to open up with Firaga. Nothing too bad. Agamas are old world lizards. I like that. So Yoshi is actually in a pretty good spot overall with HP, and Soma actually had a good HP level on the Black Wizard as well. And we are back to neck and neck going into the water floor of the Chaos Shrine. Hopefully, these runners have some favorable encounter luck. The Agama Facts, it's an NES meme. I will actually state that I run both PSP and NES, so I throw memes between the two. This run has been very neck and neck, and I am sitting on the edge of my chair. Unfortunately, Soma getting the unrunnable water elementals while Yoshi makes it to Kraken 2. And we've had a lead switch, and Soma is going for haste on the ninja. Yoshi makes it through. 5 to 7 minutes remaining on the race. This has been an extremely good race. Yoshi being the first one to make it to Tiamat's floor. But Soma engages Tiamat first. Haste going off for Yoshi before the ninja attacks. 14 hits for 1976. A beautiful, beautiful attack. And Yoshi makes it through Tia 2 before Soma does, but Soma is not far behind after Tia 2. Hello, Iron Golems. Hello, Iron Golems. That's a rare encounter, and it's unrunnable. But we are about to go into the final chaos fight. This is neck and neck going into final chaos. Yoshi opting to save Soma, starting the text before Yoshi does. The question is, who is going to win? Soma did not save, so if Soma wipes, that's it. Soma did ether. All right, here we go. Yoshi realizing he's got the levels. He's got the HP rolls. Everything is going to be beautiful. There is a 4-second difference starting the fight. Yoshi starts off 14 hits for 12 hits, 14 hits for 1692. On Soma's side, Soma gets a blaze to start off the fight. Everything is fine. Yoshi is going tonicless. Yoshi knows that things need to be done. 12 hits for 1333, 16 hits for 2061. Tsunami coming up for Soma, and Blaze coming up for Yoshi. More Hilaras going out. And now Yoshi's at the point of hold X and win. 16 hits for 2259, 8 hits for 1088. Soma getting 1894 and then 891. Tsunami coming out for Yoshi. This is extremely close. Yoshi 2644, 1618. Cyclone coming out. Soma just going all in. The Black Mage is dead for Yoshi. But everything's okay because all the buffs are done. Soma is still going strong with everybody alive. And Soma finishes. The SRL time was 1:30.51. Yoshi finishes with an official SRL time of 1:30.54. This was a 3-second race. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a 3-second race. If Yoshi's Black Mage had not died, I think Yoshi would have actually beaten Soma on this race. This was an absolutely insane race from both of these runners. GG's to both of them. This was an insane race. And yeah, I agree with that one, Forsyth. I think we have hit just the peak of the tournament on the second match. I am joined by our winner, Soma SR. GG's, Soma. You ran me out of breath on the Chaos fight.
Hello. Yeah, what really close race.
Extremely close. It was, I mean, the 3-second difference. The SRL room was... Yep. I saw you guys just talking there in the SRL room, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got a very bad run for me. I got like so many ambushes, many unrunnable fights. I was like, I can't win. It will have 2 minutes ahead or something. And I don't know how, but we were close every time.
Yeah, you guys were extremely close. I do have one question for you, and that is going back to Astos. When you had Deathcast on your White Mage, what was your plan for dealing with that after you got your White Mage back up?
Just farming one extra fight on Devil Eyes. Or something like that. Just I did some farming stuff. That's it.
Yeah, and with
the backup, just farm more.
Yeah, and with all the unrunnables you got too, that also helped out with getting your White Mage back up to speed.
And I was worried because my Black Mage also had very low HP all along. And then, yeah, it was very difficult for me. Also, I knew we were very close, so I was like, okay, I will never save. So I didn't save before Leash at the end, and neither before Chaos, because I knew I was behind. After Tiamat, I was 1 minute 10 behind. And for me, I was like, okay, it's over. It's 1 minute ahead. I will just go YOLO and just see.
That's definitely the way to go, and it paid off for you. We are also joined by YoshiKyon. GG's Yoshi, how are you feeling with the 3-second difference?
I came in really expecting nothing, so honestly, just it being that close is good, but like, damn.
It was an extremely close race.
Yeah, like, I saw that I was like very slightly ahead at times, and then I like kept falling very slightly behind, and it was so back and forth. And I saw I was a minute ahead at Tiamat. I was like, okay, this is really good. Just play safe. Don't do anything stupid now. Like, the worst thing I could have imagined was not saving and then dying to Chaos and being back at back at Tiamat. So I did take the safety saves there, and I think it was the start of Chaos Shrine. I just got so many unrunnables, but ones that required different menus as well. So it was just like, before I knew it, like going into Kraken, we were neck and neck, and it was just like, okay, gotta hope that. I didn't actually see. Soma, did you have haste on the ninja?
Yeah, I have, because I had to farm a lot. I got many fights. You can't imagine how many fights I got. So I was like level 20 or something like that.
I saw some of the moments where we both got kind of bad luck. The Lefenians were a nightmare. I had to wait for it to move 2 squares before I could get past.
Yeah, there were a lot of different parts where you guys had bad luck.
Did you need to do Junction tonics?
No, I didn't do any, but then my Black Mage died.
Okay, I had haste, but I needed to Giant tonics. So
right, my ninja was like perfectly safe, but the Black Mage was at 257, and I was like, that's good enough. I'm gonna go with it. And it wasn't.
I think I played a little bit risky because my ninja had 280 HP. So I was like, is it enough? And I survived twice by 10 HP, so okay, why not?
Yeah, 270 is usually where things are iffy, but if you get over 270, then I've noticed that things end up being fine.
Like, for what it's worth, I said going into this that my PB was like, I feel like I've been rated a lot higher than I should be because my PB did all of the risky strats. And considering I took like, 8 safety saves in this race, I was half a minute off my PB.
Yeah, you played extremely well, Yoshi, especially when we were throwing stuff around for background info. You played extremely well.
Like, if all my races are like that, I'll be happy with how I've performed, but I don't know if my heart will take it.
So, any final thoughts from either of you on this race?
I'm looking forward to the run back.
Yeah, we will see.
Well, that was this match for the Final Fantasy I Total Chaos 4 PSP 80% tournament. Stay tuned for the next match tonight, here in about an hour and a half. It will be Xance versus myself in Group Kiraja. And if I do remember correctly, it is being broadcast here on Speed Gaming 1. So definitely keep your eye open for that. Keep your eye open for more of these exciting matches in this tournament. We will be doing this tournament for quite a while. There is a link to the tournament Discord server as well as Speed Gaming's Discord server. And I do want to thank Speed Gaming for allowing us to have this broadcast on their channel. We will be back here in about an hour and 20 minutes with another race. So until then, thank you guys for watching. Take it easy. Keep being awesome.